This girl right here, she needs to be a part of the top 10 anime betrayals, because what she just did to my boy Futoshi was just straight up heinous. Like, how do you do my boy like that? Why would you do... Like, that man has been so nice to you. I mean, look, I kind of understand her POV, but even then, like, this man, he's been so kind. He's been a sweetheart, okay? And just what Kokoro does to this man, just like, I wanna be a partner with Mitsuru. I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, you're literally doing this to this man? Like, this man is just like, I love you, I want to protect you, I want to protect that smile, and then all of a sudden she's like, no, I want to be a Mitsuru, and I'm like, you just told the man that you would always be partners, and then you say something like that. I'm like, top 10 anime betrayals right here. Like, why would you do that to the man? So, I want to be honest here. I felt very bad for Futoshi, because ever since he was introduced as a character, it was always established that he cared about Kokoro, and it always seemed like Kokoro and him had a very good relationship. That's the impression I always got, ever since, you know, their characters introduced. But I do know that Mitsuru and Kokoro have been having a little bit more moments together in recent episodes, and it has been implying that something might happen between the two. But even then, though, just what Kokoro did to Futoshi, I'm just like, that's just pure savagery. Like, she just, like, up and left this man high and dry, and the man just like, why would you do this? And, you know, I understand the message of it, like, you know, the romantic theme and stuff that, you know, this series, Darling in the Franxx, has been doing. I understand the message, which I will talk about in a second, but just like, oh my god, it's just horrible thing to do to a man. So, let's talk about it. Okay, so it's very obvious what Kokoro did and what was going on with Futoshi is the equivalent of a relationship to where either a boy or girl, they're trying to make a relationship work, okay? Regardless of whoever, okay? Just whatever's going on, they're trying to make a relationship work, and the other person, a part of the relationship, they're not really putting any effort. They're not trying to make it work. Like, okay, let's say you love this person deeply, and you're going out of your way to do things that you normally would never do, because it's just against you, but you do that because you want to be with this person. You love this person, and so you try many ways to make it work. You go out of your comfort zone just to make it work. But even then, even though you go so far, it just doesn't work out. The other person decides to just walk off and leave the relationship. And in this case, that's kind of what was going on. What Kokoro just did to, you know, Futoshi is the equivalent of that. She just left the man high and dry, even though he tried so hard to make the relationship work. Now, at the same time, I know people are going to be quickly to judge Kokoro and put her down. And yes, even I did that in this video. But at the same time, even though I have not personally been in her position, I do believe that her spot, like what she is doing, is believable, and I can't really, like, hate her completely for it. Even though I don't like her, I can't say I hate her, because what she is doing, she's just following her heart, what she wants. Because, look, at the end of the day, we're all human, and we will go after what we want. Whatever we want in the world, if we have something that we desire, something we love, if you have a strong enough desire for something, you're probably going to fight for it. And in this case, Kokoro, obviously, she didn't want to be with Futoshi. She may respect him, she may like him in some ways as a friend, but it seems like, in reality, she didn't want to continue to be a partner with him. And so she wanted someone else to excite her, or someone that is on the same wavelength as her. And that is where Mitsuru comes in. It says a lot about Mitsuru and Kokoro as, you know, a character, how they are. And I mean, for Kokoro to actually say that she's not really that good of a girl, and not as nice as everybody thinks she is, it implies that there is a darker side to her, something a lot more heinous than we are actually aware of, which shows that she is flawed as a human being, which that is one of the other aspects that this series has really been trying to show, is that at the end of the day, when it comes to relationships, there's going to be flaws in both sides. Both people trying to make a relationship, they're going to have flaws, they're going to have problems, they're going to have good things, and you gotta work through them if you want to continue to be in a relationship with someone. And that's kind of the message of the episode, with the whole theme with, you know, Kokoro going away to Mitsuru and Futoshi being left high and dry. It was just about flaws, fighting for your desires, and also just, you know, trying to make something work, but it just won't in the end. And so what's the point? You should just move on and try to go to greener pastures. That's kind of what was happening in this episode. So yeah, even though I'm mad with Kokoro, like I said, I don't hate her. I think she's, in fact, a really good character. I mean, I know many might say she's trash and all that, but I think she's a good character, especially after this. It makes me a little bit more interested in her development and where she's going to go, especially after what she did to Futoshi in this episode, and how she kind of was able to talk to Mitsuru and have him make some development of his own and figure out what he needs to do with his life. As we know, Mitsuru, he has an inferiority complex. He feels like he's inferior to Hiro, and we get a little bit more insight into that with this week's episode, that it's not just the fact that he feels inferior to Hiro, it's also the fact that he wants to be acknowledged by Hiro. He wants Hiro to look at him and acknowledge him how far he has gotten, how strong he is, but also he is very hurt. He feels like he was, dishonored, and someone just completely trampled on his pride when, Hiro forgot the promise. Now, let's talk about that. So, the reason why Mitsuru has such, a big, hatred, a lot of hatred for Hiro in the first place, is because in the past, when they were kids, it is kind of petty, though. I just do want to say it. It's a little bit petty, what I'm going to say. But in the past, they made a promise, and Mitsuru wanted to be a partner with Hiro. He wanted to be a partner and all that for the FranXX. And I can understand, the man looked up to Hiro, he looked like an idol, and then he was let down when Hiro eventually said, no, what promise? I don't remember a promise. Now, it's very obvious from that scene that Hiro wasn't trying to be malicious. He wasn't doing something to just make Mitsuru mad. It's very apparent from the way the scene was done, is that for some reason, Hiro does not remember. Either through some form of memory manipulation, or he was so drugged up, he just couldn't give a definitive answer, one or the other. I mean, think about this. They've been giving these kids drugs, they're forcing them to fight on the battlefield. I mean, they gave something to, Mitsuru, like this elixir or whatever. So, I mean, they're not against, giving these kids, certain drugs to make them stronger or whatever. So, the possibility of, affecting, Hiro's mind in some way is up there. So, yeah. I do believe that Hiro, like I said, wasn't malicious, but there's just a big misunderstanding, and that's led to this entire issue between Mitsuru and Hiro, and that's kind of what's going on there. Like I said, it's a little bit petty. I'm not gonna lie. It's petty for Mitsuru to hold a grudge this long. At the same time, if your idol that you looked up to for a long time just, kind of betrayed you, then I guess it would sting quite a bit. I mean, I've never been in that spot. But at the same time, if I did have something or someone I looked up to that much, and then they did that to me, I guess I would be upset. I would. I mean, it's kind of the situation of what happened in The Incredibles. If you ever watched, that movie Incredibles and all that, with, what happened with, the main villain, then you'll know for a fact that it's kind of the equivalent of that. I mean, if your idol just crapped all over you and, they didn't care, then, yeah. I mean, you'd be pretty salty, too. So, even though he's salty, it's petty, it's believable. So, I won't put it against the writers of this episode for that, or the writers of Mitsuru's character. Oh, yeah. So, let's talk about 02. So, last week, we knew that 02 was a little bit off. She was acting very different. She was not being bubbly, she was not being happy, she wasn't really talking much, she was very silent, and she seemed very moody in a way. And I was thinking to myself, what was going on there? Why is, 02 acting like that? It was something, kind of obvious in the last episode. It was kind of popping up here and there. Besides the Zordami stuff, just 02 seemed very moody. And now with this episode, once again, there's something off with 02. She seems to be very upset. She seems to, be a little bit agitated in some way, or very jumpy, or wanting to get things done quicker, especially in the fight, when she was trying to fight the Klaxosaur. I want to point something out, okay? When they were fighting the Klaxosaur, 02, she actually kind of tried to take control from Hiro, and start to fight the Klaxosaur, try to rush in at it, and get the kill on it. And you see how Hiro kind of pulls her back, like he's pulling in the reins. And that entire scene, the way that was done, is kind of showing that she was desperate. She was really desperate to kill the Klaxosaur, which makes me wonder why. Why is she acting like that? Now, we do know that she is not entirely human, and we do know that her fangs at the end of last episode were a lot longer, so she might be showing signs of changing more into Klaxosaur, and maybe the reason why she wanted to hunt the Klaxosaur down is because of maybe she enjoys killing them, or maybe the stench is so bothering, it bothers her so much that she just needs to get rid of it quickly. Because in this episode, she mentions that it stinks of Klaxosaur all over the place. So maybe the reason why she was so jumpy and all that is because she wanted to kill it, and she wanted to get rid of it because it just stinks so bad. But it doesn't explain why she acted like that in the last episode. So my only assumption is maybe she needs to get a kill on a Klaxosaur. Because when you think about it, she hasn't really been able to get that killing blow recently. With the previous 2 instances with Goro and Menzordomy and all of that type of stuff, she really hasn't got to get that final blow, kill the core of a Klaxosaur. And ever since then, she seems to be a little bit down. Maybe her instincts as like, you know, half, like, part Klaxosaur and all that, maybe she thrives off of hunting them down, the thrill of the hunt. And if she doesn't get that, maybe it kind of puts her in a lower spirit. Because she did have a personality change somewhat towards the end of the episode. She seemed to be a little bit more clingy towards Hiro. So something is definitely going on there, and I'm very curious. That needs to be explained. But it's obvious that she doesn't want to share too much about herself to Hiro, which it makes me wonder why. I mean, we know Hiro, he might not be able to understand everything. Maybe the reason why 02 doesn't want to say anything because she doesn't want to scare him off. But I believe there's something going on at why she can't say it in the first place. But we'll find out when time, comes around. So with that, I think I want to end this video here. So let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about what happened with, Futoshi and, what happened with Kokoro and Mitsuru? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that Mitsuru is ever going to be able to forgive, Hiro? Let me know. Please be safe. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And with that, Chibi out.